Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most surprising and unconventional weapons ever developed in modern military history, a system that looks almost unreal at first glance, but has quietly changed how close quarters combat is fought around the world. Israel's CornerShot weapon system, a technology that allows soldiers and special forces to see, aim, and fire around corners without exposing themselves to enemy fire. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this invention has left military experts shocked, and why it continues to influence modern warfare in ways many people never expected. At its core, the CornerShot is not a traditional firearm but a weapon platform designed to mount a standard pistol or small weapon onto a hinged frame that bends at an angle, usually 60 or 90 degrees, allowing the shooter to remain safely behind cover while the barrel and camera system peek around a corner. And this simple idea solves one of the deadliest problems in urban combat: the moment a soldier has to lean out to see and shoot, exposing their head and upper body to enemy fire. The idea behind CornerShot was born from real battlefield experience rather than science fiction, developed in Israel by former special operations personnel who had first-hand knowledge of urban warfare, counterterrorism raids, and hostage rescue operations, where split-second exposure can mean life or death, and they understood that most casualties in close combat happen when soldiers attempt to clear rooms, hallways, or tight alleyways where enemies are hidden just out of sight. What makes CornerShot revolutionary is not just the bent barrel concept, but the integration of advanced optics and electronics into a compact, rugged system, with a small camera mounted near the muzzle that sends live video to a screen at the rear, allowing the operator to see exactly what the weapon is pointing at, even when fully concealed behind a wall, doorframe, or armored vehicle, effectively turning blind corners into visible spaces. In traditional combat, clearing a corner is one of the most dangerous maneuvers because the defender almost always has the advantage, waiting with their weapon trained on the entry point, but CornerShot flips this equation by allowing the attacker to observe and engage without giving the defender a clear target, dramatically reducing the risk of ambush and surprise attacks. The system is designed to work with a variety of pistols and even some non-lethal options, making it adaptable for military, police, and special forces use. And this flexibility is key because it allows the same platform to be used in counterterrorism raids, hostage rescue missions, and urban patrol operations where lethal force may not always be the first option. One of the most impressive aspects of CornerShot is how it blends simplicity with advanced technology, because mechanically it is straightforward: a hinge, a mounting rail, and a trigger linkage. But electronically it incorporates laser aiming modules, infrared cameras for night operations, and compatibility with suppressors, allowing it to function effectively in both daylight and complete darkness. When the world first saw images and videos of the CornerShot in action, reactions ranged from disbelief to fascination, with many assuming it was a gimmick or a niche tool with limited real-world value. But over time, as more security forces adopted it and demonstrated its effectiveness, perceptions began to change rapidly. Urban warfare has become the dominant form of conflict in the modern era, with battles increasingly fought in cities, towns, and dense civilian environments, where traditional long-range weapons are less useful and close quarters combat is unavoidable, and this shift has made tools like CornerShot far more relevant than they might have been in earlier generations of warfare. Israel's security environment, shaped by decades of counterterrorism operations and urban engagements, provided the perfect testing ground for such a weapon, and the lessons learned there resonated with military planners worldwide who face similar challenges in their own cities and conflict zones. The psychological impact of CornerShot on both users and adversaries is another important factor, because knowing that an enemy can see and shoot without exposing themselves changes how defenders behave, increasing stress, uncertainty, and hesitation, which in combat can be just as decisive as firepower itself. From a tactical perspective, CornerShot enables a level of information dominance at the micro level, allowing small units to gather intelligence about what lies beyond a corner before committing to an entry, reducing guesswork and the reliance on grenades or blind firing, which can cause unintended damage and civilian casualties. This precision aligns with modern military doctrines that emphasize minimizing collateral damage while maximizing operational effectiveness. Especially in counterinsurgency and counterterrorism, operations where winning public support is as important as defeating armed opponents. The weapon's influence extends beyond its direct use, as it has inspired similar concepts and technologies in other countries, pushing defense industries to explore new ways of integrating cameras, sensors, and remote aiming systems into infantry weapons. Critics have argued that CornerShot has limitations, such as its size compared to a standard pistol and the need for training to use it effectively, but supporters counter that any tool designed to save lives and provide a tactical advantage is worth the investment, especially when used by specialized units. Another common misconception is that CornerShot is meant to replace traditional firearms, when in reality it is a complementary system designed for specific scenarios, particularly room clearing, hostage situations, and urban patrols, where its unique capabilities shine the most. The evolution of CornerShot has also seen upgrades over time, with improved cameras, lighter materials, and better ergonomics, reflecting the broader trend in modern warfare toward modular, upgradable systems rather than static designs. What truly sets CornerShot apart is how it challenges long-held assumptions about combat, particularly the idea that to shoot, a soldier must expose themselves, and by breaking this rule, it forces both users and opponents to rethink tactics, positioning, and movement in confined spaces. In many ways, CornerShot represents a broader shift in warfare toward remote engagement, sensor-driven decision-making, and the reduction of human exposure to danger, trends that are also visible in drones, unmanned ground vehicles, and robotic systems used on the battlefield today. While CornerShot is not unmanned, it embodies the same philosophy of using technology to extend human capability while minimizing risk, acting as a bridge between traditional infantry weapons and more advanced robotic platforms. Law enforcement agencies around the world have also shown interest in the system, particularly for high-risk warrant service and barricaded suspect situations, where officers must deal with armed individuals in enclosed spaces, and the ability to see and engage without direct exposure can prevent deadly outcomes. The global reaction to CornerShot highlights how innovation often comes from necessity rather than ambition, and how relatively small, focused inventions can have an outsized impact on tactics and doctrine when they address a critical problem effectively. Some military analysts view CornerShot as a symbol of asymmetric innovation, where a smaller nation leverages creativity and experience to develop solutions that larger defense industries may overlook, focusing not on brute force but on tactical finesse. As warfare continues to evolve, especially with the increasing importance of urban environments and hybrid conflicts, tools like CornerShot are likely to become even more relevant, either in their current form or as part of more integrated systems combining weapons, sensors, and artificial intelligence. The ethical implications of such technologies are also worth considering, because while they can reduce risk to soldiers and officers, they also raise questions about the balance between safety and the escalation of force, particularly in civilian settings. However, proponents argue that better visibility and precision ultimately lead to more restrained and controlled use of force, reducing the likelihood of panic-driven actions and unintended harm. Looking ahead, the legacy of Israel's CornerShot weapon is not just in the hardware itself, but in the mindset it represents, a willingness to rethink fundamental aspects of combat and to challenge assumptions that have existed for generations. It demonstrates that innovation does not always require massive budgets or futuristic materials, but rather a deep understanding of real-world problems and the courage to approach them from a completely different angle. As more footage and first-hand accounts of CornerShot use become available, its role in shaping modern warfare becomes clearer, showing how a single idea, executed effectively, can ripple across military and law enforcement communities worldwide. In a world where conflicts are increasingly unpredictable and fought in complex environments, adaptability and creativity are just as important as firepower, and the CornerShot stands as a powerful example of how these qualities can be translated into practical, life-saving technology.